So what is a plateau in language learning? Well, it's a plateau just like anything else. When you're lifting weights, when you're learning a martial art, when you're learning music, learning anything, you can hit a plateau. You can hit a certain point where you don't seem to be making progress no matter how hard you're working. You're not making any progress, or at least progress that you can see. What causes a plateau in language learning? Well, when you first start studying a new language, you're learning a bunch of new stuff. You're learning culture, vocabulary, verbs, verb conjugation, all that great stuff. And it seems like you're making a lot of progress because you are. It's very motivating, very exciting. But then we get bogged down in rules and exceptions to the rule and verb conjugation and different levels of politeness. And we seem to get bogged down. And that's when we start to slow down, start to lose motivation. It might even happen when you have an experience like me after many years where you think you're speaking fluently and the person you're trying to communicate with doesn't understand you. So how do I overcome a plateau in language learning? Well, first of all, learn to be patient with yourself. Next, assess your methods. Now, this is where you need to be brutally honest with yourself. If you're on a diet and you're having ice cream every night at midnight, are you going to lose weight? Well, look at your efforts in your language studies. Are you studying 5 minutes a day? Do you think you're going to make a lot of progress that way? Probably not. You know deep down inside, am I studying? Am I learning vocabulary? Am I putting in the conversation time? Now I know we all get busy with things like family and work, so we can't necessarily put in 6 hours of practice every day. It's just not practical. But we can put in little bits of effort every once in a while. So when you're standing in line at the grocery store, pull out your flashcards. When you're in the car, listen to some audio. So instead of watching the news at night and getting all depressed about the state of the world, you can watch a language video. You can watch a foreign language movie. And while you're watching the movie, you hear the character say something and you want to know what they're saying because you want to understand the movie without subtitles, by the way, and you'll see it in context. It's a lot easier to learn vocabulary in context. But the point is, it's very important to be honest with ourselves. How much effort am I putting in? I'm not going to get fluent in a language by 5 minutes a day. Next, try an alternate method. Maybe put down the flashcards and learn a song in that language. A lot of the grammar I learned in studying Japanese came from pop songs. Now, I had a really close friend from Bosnia, and he had a perfect American accent. He learned by listening to rock music, and his grammar was perfect. His pronunciation was perfect. So using music, I really recommend it. Or just shut off the TV, pull out some textbooks. Increase your exposure to native speakers. Now, it's not always practical to just pick up and move to a foreign country, but you can find people in your town that speak that target language. Or you can find other people who are studying. Work with them. And when all else fails, you still have Netflix and YouTube. And that leads us to consuming media in that target language. Now you can get lots of music, lots of videos, movies. Just sign up for Netflix or Amazon Prime. Get a good workout. It not only increases blood and oxygen to the brain, and I don't have any scientific data on this, I'm sure you can find a lot of it, but anecdotally in my own life, a good workout seems to solve any little problem that I'm dealing with. A couple years ago, I got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Didn't continue because I kept getting injured, but I usually get kind of anxious in crowds, which I know is crazy because I live in Tokyo, but I kind of get this anxiety when I'm in a crowd. And after a really good workout one day, I was leaving the academy and a taxi sped past me. He was supposed to give me the right of way, but turned right in front of me, and it was probably a couple feet away, not even dangerous, but you know, when you're not used to crowds, a taxi speeding by too close when you have the right of way is, I mean, it's unforgivable. But after a good workout, I didn't even care. Look how far you've come. Pick up an old textbook, go through those exercises, and see how easy they are now. So you have learned something, and you are making progress. It just might not seem like it at the moment. We've also got to be realistic because learning a new language can be hard, especially as an adult. We've got other obligations. We got to go to work. We got to take care of the family, got to take the garbage out, wash the dishes. So we have less time and less brain space to devote to that new language. Think about this. You might not even be at a plateau. It just might feel like it. It's very subjective. It's hard for humans to see our own progress sometimes. But when you see an old classmate from your language school, they might say, wow, you've improved 100%. You might see your old teacher, your instructor, and they might say, wow, you're really coming along. Don't compare yourself to others. You've heard this a million times. Comparison is the thief of joy. Now, if you compare yourself to somebody who's been studying this language for 10 years, it's easy to get depressed because they're so far ahead, I'll never reach that level. Maybe compare yourself to somebody who's a year ahead of you. And that'll actually give you motivation. Say, you know, if I keep studying, I'll be as good as that person. Teach somebody. Now, I took a Taekwondo class when I was in college, and my instructor was outstanding. And I asked him, how did you do this? I mean, I'm thinking he might have just been a natural athlete, so I'm never going to catch up to him. I thought maybe he puts in 50 hours a week. He said, no, I was nothing until I started teaching. It made me analyze the mechanics of how I'm moving my body, how I'm doing things. I was blown away because I thought you had to master something before you can teach it. No, you just have to be a little bit ahead of the person you're teaching. Act it out. Now, when you go to get yourself a glass of water, say in that target language, I'm pouring a cup of water. I'm making a coffee. I'm having salad. I'm cooking steak. Act it out and then narrate it to yourself. You'll be amazed at how the mind-body connection really solidifies that language in your mind. But you know what? Every once in a while, we just need to take a break. Now, that doesn't mean you should take 6 weeks off because you're going to forget stuff that you've been studying so hard to learn. But maybe just take a walk. Maybe get some sleep. I mean, that's something I constantly forget is I'm bashing my head against the wall trying to learn some new grammar or some new vocabulary. And it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I can't figure out why I can't remember this. I just read a whole page and I don't remember what I read. But then I get some sleep, pick up the book in the morning, and suddenly everything is much more clear. Getting some rest is also very important because you're building new neural pathways in your brain. Your brain needs time to sort out this new information, needs time to categorize what you've learned. Give your brain a break too. It needs time to sort through all these new concepts that you're learning. And after a good night's rest, you'll be amazed at how much better you get in that target language. Now, don't take a long break. You don't need to take 6 weeks off because, that's going to be counterproductive. But maybe every once in a while, take a day off. Or you can power through. Sometimes I'm reading a page of legalese and I just can't figure out what I'm supposed to understand from this page. Then I read it again and it makes sense. Sometimes you just got to power through. Just use brute force. Doesn't work every time. Sometimes a break is better, but sometimes brute force works. Remember that results can lag behind effort. So let's say you're trying to build muscle and you've increased your reps, you've increased the weight you're lifting, but you're not getting any bigger. You're not getting any stronger. Your waist isn't getting any smaller. So you just keep powering through, and then one day you notice those pants fit better, or that shirt is tighter around the shoulders. The results lag behind the effort, so just be patient with the process. But the one thing that's really going to light a fire under your butt is setting a goal. Let's say you're learning a foreign language and you're going to visit that country in 2 months. You really have to buckle down and study. It's going to keep you very motivated, because you're going to be thinking, I can't wait to order dinner in Vienna in Italian. I can't wait to order sushi in Tokyo in Japanese. You have a concrete goal, you have something to work forward to. That is going to motivate you a lot. Now, I want to give a shout out to Century's Transformation. Now, he's a big fan of the Japanese language, also practices martial arts and music. So he and I have a lot of things in common that we both enjoy doing. Those are things that I have a passion for too. And I've noticed that learning a new song on guitar and learning the lyrics in a foreign language really helps my studies. Kind of a integrated, holistic approach. And I watched one of his videos and he talked about hitting a plateau in your language learning journey. And I DM'd him before this and we talked about this and thought it was a good idea to make this video. So go check out his channel, tell him I sent you there. You guys, you didn't get the memo. You're not supposed to be doing construction when I'm making a video.